What if I told you that the single most important skill for building wealth has never once appeared in a standard school curriculum? Not once. No textbook covers it. No teacher explains it. And yet, the people who master this one skill consistently end up in the top percentage of earners, while everyone else spends decades wondering why their hard work never seems to translate into actual financial freedom. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on financial intelligence, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why rich people think about money in a completely different way than the rest of us were ever taught to. Before we get into it, I want you to think about something for just a second. Think about every subject you studied in school. Math, science, history, literature. You spent years learning all of it. And how much of that directly helps you manage your money, grow your wealth, or understand how the financial world actually works? For most people, the honest answer is almost nothing. And that is not an accident. That is a massive gap in how we prepare people for real life. So what exactly is financial intelligence? It is not just knowing how to balance a checkbook or avoid credit card debt. Those things matter, but they are surface level. Financial intelligence is the deep understanding of how money moves, how assets work, how to make your money generate more money without you trading more hours for it. It is the ability to read a financial situation. Rich people are not necessarily smarter than everyone else. They are not working harder in most cases either. What they have is a mental framework for money that most people were simply never given. And today, you are getting that framework. Let's start with the first and most foundational concept, and this one alone, if you genuinely internalize it, can change everything. It is the difference between assets and liabilities. Now, you might have heard these words before, but I want you to hear them the way wealthy people actually apply them. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out. Simple, right? But here is where it gets interesting. Most people, when they earn more money, they buy more liabilities thinking they are buying assets. They get a raise, they buy a bigger house, a nicer car, more stuff. And all of those things feel like success. They look like success from the outside, but financially they are draining wealth, not building it. Rich people do the opposite. When they earn more, they first acquire more assets, things that generate income, businesses, investments, real estate that cash flows, intellectual property. Then, once those assets are producing enough income, they might upgrade their lifestyle. The order of operations matters enormously here. Let's talk about the second major pillar, cash flow versus net worth. Most people, when they think about being rich, picture a big number in a bank account or an impressive property portfolio on paper. But wealthy people, truly financially intelligent people, obsess over cash flow. Cash flow is the money that comes in every month regardless of whether you show up to work or not. Passive income, recurring revenue, dividends, rent. The goal is to eventually have your monthly cash flow exceed your monthly expenses. When that happens, work becomes optional. Not impossible, not forbidden, just optional. You work because you want to, not because you have to. That is financial freedom, and it is built through cash flow, not through chasing a high salary alone. The third pillar is understanding leverage. And this is one of the concepts that separates wealthy thinking from average thinking most dramatically. Leverage, in its broadest sense, means using something to multiply your output beyond what your personal effort alone could produce. Financial leverage is using other people's money to generate returns. Operational leverage is using systems and teams so your business can grow without you personally doing more work. Rich people think in terms of leverage constantly. They ask not just how hard am I working, but how much is my effort being multiplied? They build businesses instead of just taking jobs because a business can be leveraged in ways a salary never can. They invest in assets instead of just saving money because invested capital works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in a way your own labor never could. Now, I want to address something that comes up a lot here, because some people hear all of this and feel a wave of frustration or even guilt. The fourth pillar of financial intelligence is tax literacy. And this one is genuinely shocking when you first understand how differently taxes work for employees versus business owners and investors. When you earn a salary, your income is taxed at the highest rates before you ever see it. You get paid, the government takes its share first, and then you spend what is left. Business owners and investors operate differently. They can often deduct legitimate business expenses before calculating taxable income. They can access lower capital gains rates on investment profits. They have access to depreciation strategies, retirement account structures, and legal tax deferral tools that employees simply do not. The financial landscape changes. Tax laws change. Markets evolve. New asset classes emerge. The person who committed to continuous financial learning 10 years ago is not operating with the same playbook they started with because they have kept updating it. That adaptability is itself a form of financial intelligence. We are getting close to the most important part of this conversation, and I want you to stay with me here because this is where it all comes together. Everything we have covered, assets versus liabilities, cash flow over salary, leverage, tax literacy, money psychology, continuous learning, none of it requires you to already be rich to start applying. Every single one of these principles can be implemented at any income level. You do not need a large salary to start buying small assets. You do not need to be a business owner to start understanding taxes more deeply. You do not need to be wealthy to start auditing your money beliefs. The entry point to financial intelligence is a decision. It is a decision to start thinking differently, and you can make that decision right now regardless of where your finances currently stand. The richest people in the world were not all born wealthy. Many of them started with very little. What they did have, or eventually developed, was the way of thinking about money that we have been discussing today. And in many cases, starting from nothing actually built a stronger foundation because they had to truly understand every principle before they could progress. They could not rely on inherited wealth or safety nets. They had to build genuine financial intelligence because it was the only tool they had. Here is the thing that most financial content never says directly. Financial intelligence is ultimately about designing a life where money works for you instead of you constantly working for money. It is about creating enough freedom that you can spend your time, energy, and attention on what genuinely matters to you. For some people, that means retiring early. For others, it means building a business they are passionate about. For others, it means being able to give generously or create time with family. The specific destination is personal. The vehicle, which is financial intelligence, is universal. So here is your next step. Pick one concept from what we covered today. Just one. Assets versus liabilities. Cash flow building. Understanding tax strategy. Auditing your money beliefs. Whatever resonated most strongly with you, go deeper on that one thing this week. Read one book. Watch one focused video series. Have one real conversation with someone who understands it. Start there. Financial intelligence compounds the same way money does. Each piece of understanding you build makes the next piece easier to acquire. If this video shifted something for you, hit that like button because it genuinely helps this kind of content reach more people who need it. Subscribe if you want more videos that go beyond surface-level financial advice and actually dig into how wealth thinking works. And in the comments below, tell me which pillar from today hit hardest for you. I read every comment and I use them to shape future content. The conversation does not end when the video does. See you in the next one.